You know that in grandMA3 we can use different layouts to create our customized page. So that means on a layout we could have all of our position presets, we could see our gobos, for example, we can see a kind of color picker where we can use the colors immediately, or we can have a combination of different elements where we create our customized page to work on. So to program or to run our shows, and we have all elements directly on one window. Now in grandMA3 version 1.5 we implemented a lot of improvements to create this layout. Let's have a look at the on-PC what we did. When we have a look at this layout, we know we can store a new layout directly in this layout pool by creating a new one here. And we could assign some fixtures, of course. We select fixture 1 through 9 and we press the assign key and we hit the layout directly. You can see these fixtures are directly in the layout. Now we have a new functionality of arranging those fixtures, and this is wished since the beginning of the layout. We can use our 3D cameras now. To do so, we change to the setup. So at the top right corner we can change to setup, and you will recognize that the encoder bar changes. In this function button we can select the position or the arrangement functionality. And in this arrangement we see different layout types. We know from the 3D as well, like line, grid or circle. And now in version 1.5 you can find the camera. And you could use the first dual encoder then to select the different cameras from your 3D. You can see the magenta tiles will show us how this arrangement will look like when we apply this. So we can use direct 3D cameras now to create our layout. Another possibility, and this is the other missing connection we have, is that we want to take our selection grid positions. And we can do this. So first of all, we get rid of those fixtures here again. And we select our grid, for example. You can see in the selection grid we have a two-dimensional fixture selection in X and Y direction. And now we press the assign key again and we hit the layout. In this case, you can see that now the selection grid position is also respected when we assign those fixtures to the layout. So this is another missing piece next to the connection from the 3D to the layout, that now we have also the connection from the selection grid to the layout. And this of course can help us to arrange those fixtures very fast. So when we build several selection grids before, then we can transfer them very easy to the layout. But it helps us as well when we talk about our real grid. So because of a situation when we have our grid, for example, and now we want to run a kind of dimmer effect on this grid. That's great. On the output we can see this is running, but now we want to change our fixture selection with the MA3, for example. So we use the MA3 to say we have wings of 2, for example, and a phase from 0 through 300 or something like that, like this. And what you will see, of course, is that our selection grid, so the representation of our technical selection, it changes because of the 2 wings, of course. Now, what we want to have sometimes is the overview of our selection grid. So that's the reason why we could use this selection grid before to transfer this directly to the layout window, because here we can keep the overview of what happens in our grid, and we don't have to have a look at our selection grid because this technically changes due to the MA3. So this could be a nice workaround to keep your selection grid overview when we transfer this to the layout view. Some other improvements we have, what we can do now is to assign presets as well. So let's have a look at some color presets, for example, and we say assign preset 4.4 through 8, and we draw a kind of lasso. That's also a nice workflow improvement. We can draw a kind of lasso here, and those presets will be arranged directly from the left to the right. What we can do now is we can select them. We have some new tools here on the left side of the layout window where we can choose to draw them a little bit bigger, keep the ratio in between, or just make the object bigger in a different, directions. And of course we could move them around here. All these default settings for objects you can find in your user preferences when you go to the menu and have a look at the preferences and timing. There you will find all the default sizes for the objects. But please keep in mind, if you have an older show file from version 1.4 or former versions and you load this in version 1.5, you will not get the element defaults for the preset objects. That's just important to keep in mind. This lasso selection will not only help us in the direction of left to right, because what we can do is, of course, to assign some groups as well. So what we could do is to say assign group 1 through 5, and then we draw the lasso from the top to the bottom, like this, and our group objects will be aligned directly from the top to the bottom. So just some workflow improvements to create these objects a little bit faster in our layouts. And at the end, what I want to show you as well is that now we are able to add some rectangles and some customized text, some colors and so on. So some more improvements to really build your customized view. So what we could do is to use this plus tool to add some rectangle here. We just edit this by a right click or two fingertip on this object, and we could add a custom text here. So a custom text which says these are our spots, like this. And of course we could change the font size. We do it, the biggest font size we want to have, a text color which should be red, for example. And we could say that the text in vertical direction should be aligned to the top as well. When we close this, you can see our rectangle with the customized text for our spots. So many more possibilities you will see when you have a look at the setup of the layout, giving some objects, assigning some objects in different ways, give some custom text, some colors, some framework, and so on. So this has improved a lot. Have a look at the changes in the layout view and enjoy creating your personalized layout window.